The Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 7 is finally here, and if you've been in the market for a foldable phone and you just have not been able to pull the trigger for the last couple of years because you're just waiting for something amazing, well, this is the one to get because in my opinion, Samsung has made the most complete, best foldable phone that we've ever seen. So let's open it up and see what we got. Now this is actually already an open box because I just came back from Brooklyn, New York, where they had the Unpacked event. Samsung invited me down there. So thank you so much, Samsung. It was an amazing experience. But nonetheless, I want to give you guys an unboxing so you know what it's like when you open up a Galaxy Z Fold 7 and what you can expect. Now this one here is in the shadow or blue shadow color and a 256GB configuration. It is also available in jet black, silver shadow, and an online exclusive mint color. But I gotta say, I think this blue is definitely my favorite color. But let's take off the cover and show you what it looks like. And I'm actually gonna just toss it to the side. I don't think I'm gonna waste your time going through what's in here. We already know. SIM ejector tool, USB-C cable, and that's it. No charger, no stickers, nothing fun. That's just the way things are these days. But here we go. This is the blue shadow Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 7, and I think this looks absolutely amazing. As far as configurations go, we of course have the 256GB storage option with 12GB of RAM, 512GB with 12GB of RAM, but if you go for the 1TB storage option, that one comes with 16GB of RAM, so you're gonna get a little bit of a spec bump there. But now let's take this out of the box and see what the first impression is like. I guess it's not really a first impression. Again, I've already held this, but I do remember the first time holding this, it was pretty unbelievable. It is just incredibly thin. Like, it almost doesn't even make sense how slim and light that they made it. And I know with the S25 Edge they recently released, people were like, why do we need a thin phone? Nobody really asked for a thin phone. But with foldable devices, you gotta understand that when you fold it in half, it is twice as thick. And the fact that it's so thin, this no longer feels like you're holding two phones. With the previous generation Galaxy 6 Fold, which I have right here, when you're holding this phone, it is just a thick boy. Like you can see when I put these side by side, there is a tremendous difference. And when you're holding this, it just feels like you're holding two candy bar phones. It's just too much. So definitely a significant difference. I think it's about 26% slimmer. And holding them side by side like this, I can definitely feel the difference. The Fold 6 was 239 grams versus 215 on the Fold 7, which is pretty crazy. It's actually even lighter than the S25 Ultra, so they definitely shaved off a lot of weight on the Fold 7. And of course, I think one of the biggest complaints we all had with the Fold 6 was just how narrow the front display was. Just trying to type on it, you make a lot of mistakes because the keys on the keyboard are really close to each other, and you almost always have to unfold the phone to really like text somebody or just search for something on Google. But that's no longer an issue because on the Fold 7, they made the display wider, so we now have a 6.5-inch outer display versus 6.3 on the Fold 6. So it's going to be much easier typing on this. And of course, the way physics works, as far as I understand, is because we have a bigger outer display, when you unfold it, you now have a bigger inner display. So this inner display is now up to 8 inches versus 7.6 on the Galaxy Fold 6, which is like an 11% increase. As far as buttons go, it's pretty much the same on the Fold 7. We have the power button down here, the volume rocker over here, and they did move the SIM tray over here from the side on the Fold 6. It is now up here on the top with the Fold 7. And down at the bottom, we have the same USB-C port. Unfortunately, no increase to charging speeds. It's still 25 watts. So not the fastest, but it is what it is. And I do gotta say that I think the camera modules on the 7 look much better. On the 6, you can see we have these kind of black rings over here. But on the 7, they went for a more minimalistic, simple ring kind of look. And I think aesthetically, the Fold 7 definitely just looks a lot better. And we can't talk about the folds without, of course, talking about the hinge. So they have a new Armor Flex hinge on here, which they say is more durable. It's more subtle. You can definitely tell that there's a crease, but I gotta say, running my finger over the crease of the Fold 7, it is nowhere near as obvious that there's a crease there as the Fold 6. But I don't know if that's just because the Fold 6 is a year old and is been closed and opened hundreds of times. Maybe that crease will get worse over time. I'm not sure, but right now it feels great. You can barely tell that there's a crease there. The Fold 7 also has the same IP48 rating as the Fold 6. You're obviously just not going to get the same IP rating as a candy bar phone, but it's good enough to keep you safe, right? I hope. I know we don't have that silicon carbon battery that everyone keeps asking for in here, but it is impressive that they still have that 4400 milliamp battery in here considering the smaller form factor. And because it is running on the latest One UI 8 and has the new Snapdragon 8 Elite chip in here, which is more optimized, you might even be able to see better battery performance out of here, which is nice considering the capacity is pretty much the same. And for my Galaxy fans out there, if I put these side by side with each other, can you see the new change they made this year? Something they've never done on a Galaxy Fold before. Let me give you a hint. Yes, no more under display camera on the Fold 7. Honestly, in my opinion, I think they should have just removed that entirely. Do we really need that selfie camera there? We have it right here on the cover screen. You might as well just use that for the selfie camera if you need one. It'd be nice if you just open it up and you didn't have the under display camera at all. At least that's my opinion. You guys let me know what you think. But as far as the display goes, it's pretty much the same as the Galaxy Fold 6. We have a dynamic 2x AMOLED display with 1 to 120 Hz refresh rate and a peak brightness of 2600 nits. Okay, it's a little bit harder to open the phone just because of how thin it is. But yeah, the clapping test, the 7 definitely feels much more satisfying. I guess, yeah, it's just got that nice thump to it. But anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and set this up, transfer all of my data, my photos and everything over to this phone, use it for a day or two, and I'll come back and report back with my initial 1 day or 2 day impressions with this phone, and we'll talk about it. So I'll see you soon. All right, now while I was out there with this phone in the real world, the first thing that hit me was that this is the most expensive phone that I've ever had in my pocket, and dropping it and damaging it was just giving me crazy anxiety. And that's why I've partnered with Subcase, who are sponsoring today's video. This is their UB Pro case, and I gotta say, putting my phone in this case gives me a lot of confidence because it is very rugged and offers a lot of protection, not just on the back, but also on the front with the built-in screen protector. And it's also got a kickstand on the back that you can pop out, put your phone down and enjoy watching some movies, take a video call, or just put it down and enjoy your big, beautiful new phone. You can also slide your finger through it and use it like a pop socket to give you that extra reassurance that this thing is not gonna hit the ground. Now, if you're like me and you like MagSafe accessories and you have wallets and battery chargers, you're in luck because they also have a UB grip case which has magnets built into the back, so you can use all of your amazing MagSafe accessories. And it's also got the same military grade protection and even a kickstand out to the side. And all I'm saying is, if you're gonna spend $2,000 on a phone, definitely don't cheap out on the case. Give your phone some protection and yourself some peace with Subcase. All right, and we are back, and it's officially been 2 days that I've been using the Galaxy Z Fold 7. I've got some opinions. Let's talk about it, starting with the multitasking, because that's kind of what this phone is all about. It's really big and allows you to do a lot with it. So multitasking on here is definitely, as you can imagine, very, very powerful. So to give you an example, let's say maybe we want to open up Reddit and then we want to open up another application. We can go down here into our taskbar where we'll have a couple of applications. We can also hit on this grid and we'll have all of the apps we have available on our phone. But let's say maybe we want to bring up Spotify. We can just tap and then drag it on here on this half. And now we're working with 2 apps at the same time, but it doesn't end there because we can go ahead and bring up a third application. So let's go back into our taskbar. Maybe we want to bring up our banking application. We can just tap and drag it to any of these corners. So we'll put it down here. But if you thought that's where it ends, you, my friend, are wrong, because we can bring up a fourth application in pop-up view, which is absolutely crazy. So let's say maybe we're having a conversation on WhatsApp. We can drag it out and then put it here in the middle as a pop-up view. And now we can go ahead and interact with our WhatsApp. So if we get a message, we can go ahead and answer it. I know that the Galaxy S25 Ultra can also multitask. You can do split screen view and a pop-up view, but it's just not a big enough screen. It doesn't quite feel as nice. So I never actually do multitasking on the S25 Ultra, but doing it here on this phone with this big screen, it is honestly a very pleasant experience. You can get a lot done without feeling cramped or claustrophobic. So it definitely is a great device for multitasking. All right, so now I got a YouTube video loaded up just to give you kind of an idea of what it looks like when you're consuming media. You're definitely gonna see that hole punch cutout there. It is a little bit intrusive, but honestly, I can definitely live around this. It's not the worst thing. And the trade-off is that we do get a much better quality selfie camera on the inner display. But let me know in the comments below. I do want to know your guys' opinion. Would you rather have that more immersive experience when watching videos or playing games and have an under display camera? Or would you rather have this hole punch cutout for better quality selfies. All right, now let's talk about the crease, because this is one of those things that people kind of complain about too much. I don't think the crease is that big of an issue, especially on this generation of the fold phone. It's a lot more subtle. Maybe it just hasn't been folded hundreds of times yet, and maybe it'll get worse over time, but honestly, so far my experience with the crease has been pretty good. You honestly barely even notice it. They've done a really good job this year. They've used that new Armor Flex hinge on here, so they said it's more sturdy, it's also more subtle, it's more durable. Obviously, they're making improvements to the crease every single year, and this year it is definitely better than last year. All right, now let's talk about what is most likely the biggest controversy about this phone, and it is the fact that they removed S Pen compatibility. So you are no longer going to be able to go out and buy an S Pen and use it with your phone, which I've read online. A lot of people are just saying like that is an absolute deal breaker. How could they possibly do this big amazing phone? You just love writing notes on it. But do you guys really? I go to these Samsung events. I know Samsung users, I know Galaxy users. I myself am a Galaxy S25 Ultra holder. I have the S Pen, and the majority of the people that I talk to don't really use the S Pen that much. I personally think I use it more than anybody else because I kind of actually do take screen off memos on it. But for the majority of people, I don't think the S Pen is as crucial as people online make it out to be. Yes, it would be nice to have the S Pen as well. Yes, it would be nice to have all the features possible, but tech just doesn't work like that. There has to be some sacrifices. And in order for them to make the phone this thin, they had to get rid of the digitizer and therefore no S Pen support. But I guess let me know in the comments below, would you rather have a very slim foldable device or have it be thicker and actually have an S Pen? Now, one of my favorite changes to the Galaxy Fold 7, and this is something that we've all been asking for, it is the wider aspect ratio on the cover screen. Because if you've used it in the past on any of the previous phones, I don't know what I did with my Galaxy Fold 6, but the screen was so narrow that it was very difficult to type on it. If you ever needed to write an email or reply to a text message, when you bring up the keyboard, all the keys are just really squashed together and you just make so many mistakes while typing that you just get frustrated and just open the phone up and use it that way. But now having that cover screen be wider, it is a much easier experience typing on this phone. I didn't make any mistakes there. That's pretty impressive. But interestingly, on the other hand, it's actually still narrow enough that you can use it one-handed. You can see my thumb can reach all the way to the other side of the keyboard. So holding this phone one-handed is okay. Look at that. Again, no mistakes. And of course, one of the biggest improvements that came to the Galaxy Z Fold 7 is a 200 megapixel main camera lens, the same one that we have on the Galaxy S25 Ultra. So we're getting a very capable camera system on here. Now, I haven't had this phone long enough to do an extensive camera test, but I've had it for a couple days. I've taken a few pictures in New York and back here at home. I'll throw some of those photos up on the screen right now, and it's a very capable camera system. We can shoot up to 200 megapixel. We have all the same software features in the camera app like portrait. We have night photography, hyperlapse, slow motion, pro video. So we have all the same capabilities as we do on any of the other flagship Galaxy phones. So overall, the Galaxy Z Fold 7 is definitely a big step up from last year's foldable. This is by far the best foldable we've ever seen from Samsung. It's slimmer, it's lighter, it's wider, it's bigger, it's more pocketable, and it's just better in every way. But I'm going to keep using this phone as my main daily driver, and I'll update you guys on how it's going. But that's going to do it for this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.